Hi, welcome to the After Show for Prologue 2, the Electric Boogaloo. The only thing they missed, like, I'll say that their plan was great from my point of view as a GM. I'd have done everything like that. The only thing they missed was the fact that there was a spirit that the business campus all co-shared, effectively to save money, which just went between all the buildings and just did a rounds. And if the professor had rolled a 3 on any of the sensing tests, he would notice the spirit. He rolled 2s on all of them, missed it, but then for it showing up, I kept rolling a dice, and if it got a hit, it was going to show up. It never showed up. And the only time it showed up was when you alerted them and the mage sent it over. You got lucky the spirit never randomly showed up.
And then it rolled 0 on detecting me.
Yeah, the spirit rolled very poorly. And then for finding the duck, it also rolled 0 successes.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't consider that there might be a spirit that is in another building at the time. So it's like, I checked outside, I'm like, I don't see anything outside. I checked the floors, I don't see anything there. And so it was like, if there's a spirit, it's in the manager's office behind the barrier.
Mages are expensive and the service is expensive, so often, like, you'll find people do things to cut on prices, like they only have certain things mana barriered, or they don't have a mage on site. If there's an alert, they send a mage in. The mage might have a priority express contract, so they immediately go there. Other mages might be like, right, let me sit down, I'm working from home, I'll, finish my dinner, then I'll pop over.
Yep. Oh my goodness, though.
It's so annoying that we had a plan that worked, and then the dice were like, nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'd start with 5 edge, and it's like, I just need to save edge till we get to the barrier so I can make sure I get through the barrier. And then I had to spend all my edge before we got there.
That's the thing. I think the only other thing I would have done differently is probably tried to, like, switch situations up so we got more edge in situations. I think that would... Like, because when the dice stopped going in our favor, we had to use the edge, but then we ran out of edge quite quickly.
Yeah.
And then we were out of edge, and we had no control over how the dice went for us.
So one of the things that, I don't know if you noticed, but your plan was to go in before the manager got there, and it was a good plan. But then the glitch on the comlink, the delay, then the roof with the smoking, there was a delay. That meant the manager was in the office when you got there. Otherwise, you'd have been able to just, ignore the manager entirely.
But how would we have opened the door? Because I realized that was an issue. Because it's coded and maglocked.
I'd find a way around it.
I would have... I don't know how cheesy this would have been, but, like, I would have had to check whether the assistant manager's ID would be able to open it in somehow.
Yeah. Probably would. Because you want more than one person able to open that door, probably.
Because that was the plan, like, go in using the assistant manager's ID, which...
so you could have dropped that card as you were being led away. And then I could have, like, grabbed it.
Yeah, that would involve another roll, and they were suspicious at the time.
Well, yeah, that would have been difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd probably passed it. Then again, a lot of those tests I would have said you would have probably passed, so what do I know?
Yeah, and then...
Yeah, that's true. God, that was...
I just wanted to, at the very least, get the duck in position. And then it's like, okay, from there, it's like, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But at least I did step 1 of the process.
Mm-hmm.
At least my dignity is intact.
I mean,
at one point, I was down to being like, I'm just going to walk visible down the corridor and hope that security burst out of the room as I pass, and then just...
Oh no! Security burst out of the room at the exact right time, because Concord did get them to call security.
Yep, but I was unconscious in the cupboard because I tried to go invisible instead.
Yep.
I should have just been like... I was going to go plain clothes, and I'm like, wait, no, my charisma is not great to start with. All the negatives, I think, mean I roll no dice.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so I have to be invisible, or they will just be like, you're not meant to be here. It's like, okay, I have to be invisible. I put on 1 slap patch, because it's like, okay, now, even if I roll terribly for my my drain resist, I'm still probably going to be okay. And then I rolled pretty terribly for my drain resist.
You got, like, 2 hits against the 7
I had 1 more
drainer.
rating, 1 slap patch. You just slapped them both on. Been like, okay, 2 more stun. Now I can tank it, whatever it is.
You can afford those now, though.
Yeah, someone worked it out. I can now buy 1 rating 4 patch with the 100 yen that we got.
Honestly, everyone should run around with slap patches. They're so cheap.
Yeah, I'm glad that I got reimbursed, because I've got given back the patches, because it's like, yeah, between them I spent like 300.
Honestly,
Like
that's because it's
250?
Prologue. In real Shadowrun games, yeah, some of them will fail like this. Normally,
Yep.
you'd probably be like, it's not a red teaming mission, you know that there's going to be a downside getting caught, so you would just leave, and that's acceptable. And sometimes you will lose money on a run. That's totally fine, but generally I'll pay out higher to cover that. But bear in mind that's a reasonable option. Like, I think it's actually a good lesson that one of the prologues did fail the mission.
Yeah, it's nice because like usually it's always like, oh, they pull through in some clever way, they overcome all obstacles. It's nice to be like, no, if you mess up enough, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yep. Failed mission. I think because we're doing like legwork episode run, right?
Typically, yeah.
I think we're probably gonna be a bit better prepared with more opportunities, more backup plans, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like a big part of it is that we're not a complete party. We're a face and a mage. We don't have tech person or like stealth / combat person.
Mm-hmm.
Does no one have any lockpicking? Have you two?
I think Havoc might. I know she at least has like gear for that.
What is lockpicking?
But like, I would imagine that a maglock is more.
I don't know if I bought that. I was intending to.
Let's have a quick look.
I do not have an auto picker or anything like that.
Yeah, that just gives you stuff. I don't think you necessarily need it.
I know Havoc has an auto picker. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if you wanted to crack that door, you could have just made a logic intuition roll. You got 6 dice on that. It's not bad. And it wasn't a high rating. If you wanted to crack it like brute force,
I didn't realize it would be
3.
that simple. Okay.
Yeah, it would just be 3 successes. It wasn't
Oh,
particularly high rating.
yeah. I should have gone for that.
Yeah, but you didn't have electronics, right?
Oh, would I need electronics?
Well, you'd have rolled a -1 because you can default on it. So you'd have rolled a 4 dice. You need 3 successes. That's high. Concord would have rolled 5,
Okay.
needing 3.
I thought you said logic intuition or something.
Oh, sorry. No, it's electronics intuition. My bad.
I'm not good at that then.
Yeah.
That'd be 3 dice. I'd need to ace it.
Concord would have rolled 6.
Oh.
And that's the brute force, like, I'm trying to crack the lock rather than trying to find a way around it.
What I should have checked to realize I didn't is if there were windows to the manager's office, I could have just floated up outside the building and just forced the damn window.
It would have broken it. But you could have.
Yeah. But it's like broken window on top floor, no sign of entry. If you can't find the duck, someone just threw a rock.
There would have been alarms on the windows for that sort of thing, but it's possible.
That's where you need your technomancer around.
Yeah, but that's why this place had very low matrix security for a few things, and in terms of its host, it had just been updated and had a very powerful host because they just had a technomancer come around.
Yep, runs go wrong sometimes, but I quite enjoyed it. I quite liked being all skeevy.
Yeah, you had a really good plan. I really thought that plan was a really good plan. Like, you did all the things you needed to do. You avoided some of the things that, like, a team composition that you didn't have would have done.
I think it's quite interesting as well, because this is obviously a thing that happens in real life. Red teaming and penetration testing is like really, really interesting to read about, because I was going through one, and this woman was like, my objective was to put a thing in the manager's computer USB port. That's literally it. And she was testing out the security guards, and it was one of those things where she literally just walked in, and she spent a little bit of time, and like in real life you would have more than half an hour to do it. She spent like 2 hours in this building and sat down to have lunch in the cafeteria.
I think I remember that. I think I've read that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a security guard sat down with her and started chatting, and then was like, "Have you been checked in?" Like, and she was like, "Oh crap, here it goes. I'm busted." And then she just managed to like convince him that she was like visiting, and I think she ended up with a visitor's pass.
Yeah. I can't remember. Oh, there was another one I read that was similar, where someone was asked to do a lot of pen testing. surprising note, the software world is incredibly sexist. Generally, a lot of it is skewed male. Pen testing and red teaming, it's skewed much more back to the norm because male security tends to really underestimate women. They need help. So it's actually a surprising amount. The anecdotes I've read for the software world is really good. I think there's another woman was basically going around a number of different companies, and it was like blue chip firms. So I don't know who it was, but like think IBM type situation. And they're going around a number of the different ones in different states for them. And they, from a previous one, they got a visitor's pass, and they walked in and they were like, did their checks and were like, all the places use the same visitor's pass. So they just wore the visitor's pass from another place in and could just walk around at will and like, okay, this really helps.
Wow.
So much dumb stuff you can do with social engineering. It's why one of my favorite characters for Shadowrun is a social engineering face type situation.
Yep. It's really easy to just talk your way into somewhere.
Yeah.
Surprisingly easy. Like, if you just give the impression that you're supposed to be there, people don't ask it. That is the power of like a lab coat or a yellow jacket.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The old-fashioned one for red teaming is a clipboard and just make notes. No one wants to interrupt you making notes.
Oh yeah. If like you put on a hard hat and a clipboard and it's like, oh, maintenance or construction, you don't want to mess with them, you know. They're doing their job, don't want to get in the way.
The thing is that at the top end, when you go like, I don't know what American ones are like, but British nuclear installations and so on, much higher threshold.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, you've got to be careful.
Yeah, like top end places and some are like the really like careful R&D places. Their guards have check-in codes and they have to use them. They change every day and it's a table. So someone replies with red something and you have to know the word in the table that's the response from that. And you have to memorize those every day.
Wow.
But there's also a reply that you use, which is the I'm under duress reply.
Ah.
And it gets real crazy. But I've seen instances of people like writing up how they've run Shadowrun with a team of like security testers and red teamers, and they've just done nuts runs. And I'm like, I want to watch their runs. I want to do this. I want to be there. I want to know how they do this.
So yeah, we could have done that, but it all went wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. I think in a genuine non-prologue, what you would have done is you'd have tried that, it would have failed. You'd have done the next attempt at doing something, it would have failed, and you'd have gone, okay, let's call the run off. I don't want to risk this, we'll get shot.
Yeah. I would have much sooner resorted to invisible levitate out a window.
Yep.
Abort, do it again another time. It's like, no, this is what I got, this is my chance. Have to do it now. More slap patches.
Technically,
That's
with
the difficulty
Concord,
again.
The alternate plan could have been levitate to the window, force the window open. Hopefully the alarm doesn't go off. You've got electronics, right? Eek.
I don't.
Well, you levitate Concord as well.
We're both just sat there, invisible, floating next to a window. Like, do you know how to
Yeah.
code?
You go in, you force your way across the mana barrier, you plant the duck, you then fix the window, screw it back into position, and leave.
I think what screwed us with the plan that we had was our greed and doing that charisma like enhance spell.
Yeah, that's the thing that gave me. I mean, I don't think it ended up giving me that much drain. It was only like a couple, but at that final moment, one drain was the difference between me being invisible and having one last shot.
And it did mean you took a minus relatively early on when you did the next spell.
Yeah, that was the thing as well, as I took the
cumulative.
minuses, and what I maybe should have done in hindsight was just start with the slap patches early and be like, let's not take negatives.
I think, yeah, the thing is, as cool as it would be to have an invisible levitating pair of like an elf and a dwarf, Concord isn't useful there.
That is too many spells for me to sustain as well. I start taking negatives.
You take negatives to levitate, don't you? It's drain 7?
Oh yeah, I think levitate is 6. I think I can exactly sustain that with that issue. It's when I increase attribute full tilt that I can't sustain extra stuff with it.
Yeah, I think Josh is right, though. That early charisma was probably a bit too much that wasn't necessary, and the negative caused by that had a knock-on effect with more and more spells being needed to make up for it.
One spell too many.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I like the free invisibility I got, though, where it's like, oh, I take no drain. Nice.
It's good.
I can just drop it again.
From what I've seen now, I do like the way that they've changed the magic drain stuff, because Force was like a little bit cheesy, because I have played a couple of mages in 5th ed that just literally never took drain. Like one stun.
Isn't like now that the set drain, it's like you're more likely to actually take some.
The issue is there's now no force, so a lot of things you have to work on is like, okay, the threshold is the drain of the spell.
Well,
Okay.
some of the stuff they then add back in a force-like mechanic, like the increase attribute of like the more you increase it, the more the drain.
Yeah.
So
But then force is really important on one thing that I've always liked in Shadowrun, which is the test to detect someone casting a spell is 6 minus the force. So you can cast force on spells really quietly, or something like that. No, it's your magic minus the
Right.
force. So if you're magic 6 but you cast a magic 1 spell, you do it really quietly. If you're magic 6 and you cast a magic 6 spell, everyone knows because it's 0.
Should
But-
it be the Force minus your magic? Because then that would actually.
Sorry,
give
yeah,
it-
force minus your magic. So if you're casting a force 3 spell, your magic 6 it's 0. Something
Is
like
that right?
that. Yeah. Something like I can't remember. It's something like that off the top
The
of my
other way
head.
around made sense to me, that it's like the difference between your magic ability and the magic you're using. So like if you're way above the magic you're using, you can't just do it as a thing. You can do it quietly. It's like so
Yeah.
if you're magic 1,
I
you
think
cast...
it was magic minus force. So like, if you're magic 6 and you cast a magic 1 spell, the threshold to detect you is 6 because it's really quiet. You don't need that much energy.
Yeah, for the threshold. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the threshold, and I thought that worked really, really well. I really liked that mechanic because that way you had an instant know of like, can my magic person cast my magic spell in front of the guard or not? Which comes out in every RPG, and a lot of RPGs are like, wait, we don't have rules for this? And then you have to start doing it. I've never come up with an RPG other than Shadowrun that really calls out explicitly, and I thought that was a really cool mechanic. I'm not sure what it is now.
Yeah, I think it's either a sensing or there's also a meat space noticing of magic.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, which is perception plus intuition. Threshold is the magic rank of the caster.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for people to spot magic in meat space, apparently, for me.
Yeah, which I
mean,
think
it could
is...
be anyway.
Like, if you're casting a really top-end spell, you cast it just as quietly as if you cast a bottom-end spell, which I don't like as much.
Notice if you're throwing a fireball anyway.
Yeah, but if you're, like, casting, say, a manipulate spell, but you want to manipulate, like, an entire crowd of people, they'll hear you. But except in the new edition, they won't, because your magic's really high. Yeah.
In my mind, from the lore that I used to play with, is that magic basically doesn't show up apart from maybe a shimmer in meat space.
Oh, normally, but your chanting, your hand gestures, and so on, all of that is normally what they notice, and that's why, like, you can take away the chanting hand gesture to an extent and just focus it, a bit like you can in Mage Dissension, but it means that you need to be a lot more focused and you get a lot less power, which is why counting like a Force 1 spell as a Magic 6 is like, yeah, I can get away with this. Might just change that rule to magic minus drain value of a spell, or magic
I don't know
plus
if
3.
there actually is anything about detecting spells now. It's just like, is working out... There's just a sensing. Astral plus intuition hits determine what they learn, and then the number of hits table says like if they're gonna...
You can't see a spell being sustained in meat space, because it's magic. You're not mundane, you don't know. It's your casting of the spell when you chant and when you hand a gesture.
Now I'm talking about like the ability to spot in the astral that I have a spell on me.
Oh, in the astral?
Because you're saying that was the thing where it's like the threshold of 6 minus...
No, that's when you cast a spell in mundane to a meat person.
Oh, that's... Okay, right, okay. Yeah, now it's just like, however skilled the caster is how difficult it is to spot. And it's real difficult if they're like magic.
I'm tempted just to say that should be magic plus 3 minus drain or something. I think magic plus 3 minus drain means that you would be a 3 for levitate, and then like a 2 for a full-on whack of 4 attribute, but a lot less for less attribute.
Yeah.
I think that works. It's
And
a
then
bit
going
janky, but-
invisible, it'd be like 5. That's all right.
Because what's the drain on invisible?
At 4. You're
Yeah.
saying plus 3 minus.
Yeah, you'd only be a 5 on going invisible. Although that said, if someone's looking at you and you go invisible, they don't need to see the hand gestures.
Yes, that is like the moment you're doing the casting, when you're doing the movements and muttering the words. If I go invisible in front of people, it's fair that they're like, he just went invisible.
Like, where did
I
he
guess there
go?
wasn't
Must have been the
anything-
wind.
I guess there wasn't anything there in the first place.
Exactly. That's when you crit the stealth roll.
Yeah, there needs to be a third tier of invisible. It's like you cease to exist. You never existed.
Oh man, that roll where I got 3 6s. Chances of that are like 0.6%.
Which one was that? 1 in 136.
I think it was one of the ones that screwed you over.
Probably.
There were many of them.
I think it was a detection thing at some point.
Yeah. Personally, I love the image of the professor stuck in a box.
It was so good.
I did use clouds in the end. That's
It's
like
hacking beads stuck around this circle.
That's exactly
and
what I was seeing. When the guy was like, nothing in there, I was like, I guess he just doesn't notice. Maybe it's dark enough that the shadow doesn't
maybe
show,
he didn't
but...
see
I was
light on when
imagining
he
that
came
like
in.
maybe there's not that much around me, so I'm just sat on top of some stuff. So there's a bit of a divot in the things in the box, but that's it.
There's a butt print.
Oh, well, I guess just latch the lid on. Huh.
Why did they have to do that? I mean, strength. I've got strength 2. I don't have any athletics, so I get 1 die for athletics.
You really still had a chance. Right up until you crit failed and the slap patch came off.
Yep. But yeah, only because I boosted my strength.
You needed 2 successes to get out. This is why people dive strength in Shadowrun and should be punished by the GM. Honestly, the system should punish you for diving any stat particularly much. But it doesn't, because Shadowrun 6th edition never mentions strength except for as a secondary attribute for athletics. Nowhere else. Not in melee damage. Nope. That's not a thing.
I need to get a point of athletics so that I can get out of boxes.
The errata didn't fix one thing though. It used to be if you got bone lacing to make your fists and stuff like hit harder, it was entirely possible to do less damage.
Oh.
Because all the melee weapons are katana does 4 damage or whatever, knife does 2 damage or whatever. So bone lacing was like bone lacing does 2, 3, and 4 damage. Unarmed does strength halved or something. So it's like, I am a strength 10 troll. Whoa, I do 5 damage. I just got bone lacing at level 1. I do 2 damage. What?
You just add it on.
Why
That's
would
what
it
the
be
errata-
a flat thing?
That's what the errata has done. The errata's gone, okay, it's +1, +1, +2, +2. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. And also, +1, +1, +2, +2 seems like strength over 2. Do you think you've maybe cocked up somewhere on melee weapons? Because we still have the issue of, I am a strength 10 troll, I pick up a knife, I do 2 damage. What?
Welcome to 6th edition,
Take
everyone.
strength.
I mean, you know, Dungeons & Dragons is bad for Dex being better than Strength, but only just bad. Like, it's a pretty well-rounded game.
It's this weird running theme though with RPGs that are like, we've got to have dexterity and strength. Now what do we make dexterity do? Everything. What about strength? I don't know, lifting?
You know why that is?
Actually, quite an interesting question because, like, everyone, the way you break down a character gives you an insight into how the creators think about a person. Or
And
in
that's
this
because
specific-
RPGs are designed by nerds.
Yeah. So you're like, I can spin this katana in my hand, and therefore I am dexterous, and you will die. It is about how people think about the relative value of strength and dexterity.
Yeah. And look, don't get me wrong, dexterity is really important. But strength is, and like, as nerds, we probably hate to admit it, but strength is very important. Like, people move faster if they're strong. It's a thing.
You get stuck in a box, you're doomed.
Yup. Yup.
Just stick all the nerds in boxes. We're done.
That's
We're not
it.
gonna get
We're
out.
doomed.
They dump status strength.
I'm pretty sure I've got strength 2 IRL.
Probably have 2 or 3. Missed the gym twice this week. Now I'm going to be strength 2.
3's the average, right?
3's the average. Probably 3 then.
I imagine you're at least average strength. I am definitely
Oh,
below.
I'm at least average strength. Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone said to me.
Oh wow, that's so sad.
Yeah, I know. Yes, a strength 10 troll with a club does 3 damage. A strength 1 pixie with a club does 3 damage. Welcome to 6th edition.
Oh
I
dear.
mean, I'm pretty sure that's the thing that happens in the other editions as well, though, right?
No. All melee weapons are strength halved, plus or minus something. Which is why when you look at what they've changed, the bone lacing 2, +1, +1, +2, +2, that's rating over 2. So they've gone, oh, something halved. They realize what they've done wrong. And, oh, for God's sake.
Also, what's the point of getting bone lacing 2 if it just does the same as bone lacing 1, or is it something else?
It also adds to your damage resistance test.
Okay.
I think that's bone density I'm quoting exactly. Bone density adds bone density rating to your damage resistance. Maggie has it.
Okay.
And part of the reason I told Maggie to get it was I said, I'm going to homebrew all weapons to use strength over 2. So also your melee attacks are +2 damage, not 4. Whatever they were by default. To help her hit harder when she was unarmed. So, anyway, we're going to call the episode After Show here. Y'all did nothing wrong. I want you to go away feeling accomplished and just the dice screwed you over. I know it kind of sucks to fail a mission, but it wasn't your fault. Sometimes runs go like that.
We're gonna get a beefy elf and a technomancer. We're gonna wreck face.
Yep.
Honestly, you'll also have to deal with the other elf going, well, I can just fight my way in.
Like, no, not yet. When it goes wrong, which it will, but not yet.
Look, when he passes out in a cupboard, you're gonna have to bust in, pick him up, and haul his ass out of here. But wait until that moment. Okay?
And
When
then
you hear a thud, that's the signal.
and Concord gets tased, but the taser's bricked, so doesn't do anything.
There you go. That's how we bring it around.
Concord should have been able to dodge that!
Yeah.
But the dice were like, no, this run will fail.
And
it has been
that
told.
was like he wasn't going for full on like I'm gonna try and murder you attack. It was like he was gonna try and jab you once with the taser, and if you dodged it, he would just been like, "That's a warning, go." Like it wasn't gonna be he'd follow up. It was because you failed the con roll. He was like, "I'm just gonna deal with this
I saw
now."
where it was going. I knew what was happening, but then you pulled out a taser, and Concord don't tank.
Yep.
Yep.
You'd have tanked better if I'd actually tried to murder you with a knife, actually, wouldn't you?
Yes,
Your physical, yeah. Should just been
Physical
like,
is
hell, they
kind of-
have knives. Screw it. Ah.
that is
Your
fine.
stun track is just like an imagination, right? It's not real. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
It's most like technically, if I get up to 6 stun damage, I take a -4, but that won't happen because I've only got 5.
Oh my.
Huh.
This is great.
All right. Okay.
This is why Concord has very specific areas of expertise.
Very specific set of skills. The
And
gift
there's-
place.
I like to think there's a very cohesive reason for the way he is.
Yeah. No, I liked him in play. He worked quite well. I like the professor as well. You made a nice duo. Again, it's just really unfortunate.
Yeah. To be fair, Concord did a better job than the professor did. It only went wrong for Concord when he had to start like improvising and deliberately getting in trouble to try and help the professor.
Your improvisations were good. All the improvisations were spot on.
The thing is, your half of the plan would have gone perfectly had the dice done what we expected them to do. That's the only other thing.
Had the mana barrier been like, you have more dice than me, how about we both roll normal amounts of hits?
I also will say thank you. I very much appreciated for your moral guidance there. That was exactly what Concord needed.
Yeah, just like, I mean, I guess if we're gonna be true to the mission, we have to highlight security flaws, which include people who can be blackmailed.
Oh, yeah, that didn't come up. But you phrased it correctly, I think, without knowing it. What I was looking for was enough successes to realize that he was on a swingers website as well. Him and his wife had an open marriage. So...
I wasn't... Yeah. Like, the goal wasn't to blackmail him for the boyfriend. Yeah. It was to blackmail him for the boss.
Yeah, no, and that was entirely the right way, because it was forbidden for management to have, relationships with workers and stuff underneath them. Lol. And yeah, you said the right things, because if you tried to go on the other, it'd be like, okay, I have an open relationship. Like, I'd try to keep it quiet, because it's, my personal life, but fuck you. But you went the right route.
Phew. Nice.
Cool. Good.
Yeah. Also, you've got a new contact.
Oh yeah, Glenn.
Yeah,
you go, Glenn.
I swear, what we have to do is in a month's time, when he gets hired, when he's hired and he's been working there a while, we have to give him a duck, and we have to have him plant it in the manager's office. Interviewing for a promotion, he just puts it in a corner.
Will you pay him 109? Yeah. 209.
Yeah, we'll pull it. 209.
He'd probably take that as a joke bet, knowing Glen Coco.
Yeah, it's like it's a harmless thing. It's like the duck doesn't have any magical stuff in it. It's just a duck. It's for the fun of it.
Yeah, he wouldn't get like bounced off of a mana barrier. We'll be fine.
And then I can send Coach a message. Be like, okay, we did plant a duck. What time frame you wanted?
Excellent. You complete the objective. Not the objective you wanted. This one's got 0 pay, but good.
Yep. In fact, it cost us 200 yen.
I totally want to do it. I think this is a great idea.
Knowing your cop friend, he'd reimburse you the cost of 1 duck. He'd give you another.
Love it.
But he'd sneak that into my house.
Probably. Do you know which section of...
Yeah, I go into my study, in my magical lodge, and there's a rubber duck on the desk with a note.
Be like, better luck next time.
I'm like, touche.
Well played, there.
You can hire me. You don't need me, clearly.
That's why red teaming outside. If Knight Errant want to get into that place, Knight Errant can get into that place.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, you gotta... Yeah.
And your guy's definitely better connected than Lauren's Knight Errant contact. Let's not even touch on Josh's. Concord's contacts are nuts.
That's what happens when you have lots of charisma.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't walk into a mana barrier.
Walk through it.
Be the barrier.
Walk through the...
Come on with it.
Get locked in a box.